Okay, folks. Friday evening, and Friday evening? No, that's getting ahead of ourselves. Monday evening. I'll probably be even more tired on Friday evening. Let's clean this area up a little bit. And I got a couple things that I wanted to get done. I didn't think I thought I was going to go on, then it wasn't going to go on, then I'm going to go on, so let the show go on. So, there's something I wanted to test out. And I didn't think I had the figure for it. And it is funny because I would have sworn that I did. Let's just start slinging stuff around. And, I plan on painting stuff for the most part. Things that I can use in little scenarios. And more than scenarios, it's more like scenarios makes it sound like it's really big. And it's almost more like vignettes of action. Okay, little situations. Boy, this didn't seal well. Come on. This doesn't have a... It does. How the heck did that get built up? Well, let's take care of that. So, and I've talked about this before, in an effort to learn how the rules play, I need to... Let's do the safety thing. Let's move that over there. I need to... use certain things so they come into play, and I can learn how they're represented in the rule set. Small arms fire on soft vehicles, things like that. One of the things I've always mentioned is if you got like an armored car, right, and you fire rifle fire at an armored car, and one of them hits the tire, does the tire get flat? That kind of stuff. I want to see how the game handles it. And in order to handle that kind of stuff, I guess I could just put cardboard things out there, but it's my excuse to paint things to use in those scenarios. Flamethrowers. I don't have a flamethrower painted. We'll have a flamethrower scenario where you got to go in and burn somebody out. So that I've got kind of an understanding of how this stuff works before I use it in a battle and it ends up being, dragging everything on. I think the morale, playing a couple battles back to back, that helped. I actually had the opportunity this weekend to probably do a couple of battles. I had that much free time this weekend, how much time to myself. I just opted to paint instead. I think I made the right decision. But at some point, we're going to do another battle to kind of work, some other things on there. We talked about using the anti-tank gun against a column of British tanks, that kind of stuff. The mortar, a scenario where it has the mortars. There's a lot of stuff that's really daunting until you start working your way through it and realize, oh, it's not that complicated, So one of the things I wanted to work on is, and it's great for a little vignette. That's what I should call it, vignettes. Vignettes of action. VOAs. Because scenario makes it sound like it's a long and drawn out thing. Especially with the scope of these rules where it's just mere seconds. It's just when things just happen to intersect. And one of the things is a medic. Okay? So, I wanted a medic, and I got lots of Germans. I don't have a German medic, but I got lots of Germans. And if I'm going to paint any figures in the short term, it's going to be Allied guys. Because I got plenty of Germans right now, and I like them. So the Americans have got about a squad and some odds and ends of things. So I'm like, I've got to have an American medic. Justin, what's up, man? And I went through my figures at lunchtime, and I actually have a medic figure. It is a battlefield figure, and it's actually a battlefield figures. So it's a medic leaning over a guy that is incapacitated. And if you watch any of our battles, that's incapacitated actually happens pretty often. So I'm like, how am I going to mount this guy? Because normally it would be like on a penny, right? But then his legs are like dangling off the stand, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, except that what's going to happen is it's going to wear. Like you're going to grab it and that's where it's going to get worn and there's going to be a little bit of silver showing on it and everything. So I think I don't want to put them on a penny. I mean, a quarter would probably work, but I don't have magnetic bottoms for quarters. Well, let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it looks, because I'd rather it be round. I've got lots of square stands or stands I can make squarish. Haven't been on here in a long time. Yeah, man. How you been? Let's see what options I have. Let's see where all my spare change is. My spare change is here. Let's see what this looks like on a quarter, and then let's see and see if I like how that looks. His legs are still dangling, so we're gonna have to put something underneath there, just so it doesn't look like, Ooh, which one's this one? Indiana. It's got Crossroads of America. I hope this quarter is not worth a shitload of money. Yeah, see, he's still dangling, so the quarter's not going to work. All right. So this is really no better than the pennies that I do have a stand for. Let's look at some, I don't want to use a Litco stand. They're pretty thick. Shit, I could just use a piece of wood, man. Let's go grab some basswood. And I'm surprised this is the only medic I have. And the next thing I thought of is, okay, what are medics armed with in the Second World War? Well, we got lots of little pieces of plastic. That's what I should use. Or where's all my bat? Oh, it's here. It was up my ass eating a bowl of grits. I know where it was. So I started looking, okay, armed medics. And apparently been doing lots of camping. In this weather, well, it's cooler where you're at. You would have to be a sadist to camp in Florida in this weather. Although I know several people that can't stand the winter here. I have a name for people for that. It's called pussies. You can't handle the winter in Florida, you're a pussy. Sorry. I wish it was winter here all the time. Like our winter. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put him on a little square stand. And then we'll magnetize it. And we're going to give him a name. We're going to name this guy. And we're not going to name the patient. It's going to be the medic. Because I have a specific name that I want to name the medic. And he is the only guy I have. So I was looking, are they armed? And so supposedly, generally they were not armed, but it said like the Germans gave them rifles. And of course, they were supposed to not shoot them. And I think it depended on who you ran into. But in the Pacific, the Japanese just went after them. So it said that they would normally carry a pistol and like an M1 carbine if they were in the Pacific. So, I would imagine they would carry a 1911 in Europe. And I can't tell if this guy actually has a 1911 or not. But, yeah, he's got a U.S. soldier here. Okay, so I think this is the size. I think that's the square size we want. And then we'll put a little magnet on him. I build anything crazy? The craziest thing I built. Well, you haven't seen. I got these 3D printed vehicles. That the cost on them was. I really wanted to try them out for the cost. I just don't want to afford the stuff from across the seas that look really cool, but I'm not spending $30 on shipping. So the price is right on these, and these show some 3D printing lines. I'm good with it. I mean, a lot of people have like moo cows over it. I think they look good. I've been really happy with this, and it's vehicles that I didn't have anybody. This is probably the weirdest thing I got. M15 half track, M15A1. These operated with the M16s, which had the quad 50s. Triple scoop, baby. I think it turned out really well. I really like these 3D prints. So they got lines, whatever. You know, you don't like them, don't buy them. Have fun ordering the ones that are $30 shipping. You know, there's some vehicles, like nobody makes this thing. Nobody makes this that, I mean, not off the shelf. Jeeps, lots of people make Jeeps, but these are like $2 a piece. Like, how can you go wrong with $2 a freaking piece? I mean, it's just, you know, you can't go wrong with that. And they're great. They're the most robust Jeeps I've ever seen. You know, the wheels don't fall off. These vehicles are actually so robust, I wouldn't have to put them on a stand. But I'm going to, so that there's a consistency there. But they're really well made. They go together really well. Yeah, they show some lines in a couple places. Whatever. I'm okay with it. Yeah, this whole bottom hull is one piece. It's like, this thing's not going to fall apart. You know? And they're not brittle at all. There's a little bit of flex to them. So somebody like clips this, you know, you pass your hand by this barrel, it's not going to snap in half. But, you know, there's nobody that makes affordable U.S. tank destroyers. You know, Armorfast did. There's like, I've looked for months, the last 2 months, to see if I could get some. And even if I got the ones from Armorfast, they have no details on the inside. They're like missing details. So, and then, you know, the model kits are like 20 something bucks a piece. You know, I'm like, so I'm really happy with the Hellcat. I'm really happy with all of them. The Jeeps are really, really cute. So, yeah, that's definitely, you're going to be raining some hell on somebody. It's a 37 millimeter gun with a pair of 50s. So, you know, well, you know, you got multiple things going on at the same time. But, you know, you've got an aircraft vehicle, and the Luftwaffe basically doesn't fly for the most part. I mean, yes, they can't occasionally, but you're going to be using that for ground support. So that's what I've been working on. That's that and the Airfix figures that I painted that I think look freaking great. I get a kick out of painting things that are not so exciting, and then you make them look exciting. Like these Airfix crew guys are like, I mean, even I looked at them like, they don't look very good. They look all right. I mean, there's better figures out there, but I already have these. Should I throw them away? No, I'll try to do the best I can with them. It costs me nothing other than time. Okay, is that the same size as this one? I believe it is. Yep, this one's a little smoother. We're going to use this one. Rick, you on here? Make yourself say the magic word. Nerd burglar, nerd burglar, nerd burglar. So we're going to make a dimension so that there's protection of the stand all the way around. All right. I thought for sure I would have had multiple medics. Nope. And the only one I have has another guy with him. So, dude on a date. and we got plenty of, well, I can use Litco magnets. We'll come over here to my Litco stands, and I'm not going to be using any of these DVA stands anytime soon. Justin, you never played DVA, did you? You didn't come onto this channel because of my DVA content, did you? Perfect. Won't waste a little bit of that. One guy came on one of my pages. I forgot where it was, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm just getting into DVA. I just saw your videos." I said, I haven't played DVA in 20 years. I just got back into it. I said, well, I've been playing for 18 and I'm out. Timing is everything. Timing is everything, sir, and yours sucks. Okay, I'm going to save this little piece. You never know when you're going to need that. All right, we're going to take this. I don't like the magnet sticking out past the stand. I'm going to slice that off gently. A gentle butcher. Everything really miniature painting. Yeah, I don't really get into the modeling, even though some of these are technically models. Because modeling to me just has the connotation that you're going to build it and it's going to sit somewhere. You're not going to do anything with it. You're not going to make vroom vroom sounds with it, right? And roll dice with it. And I've done that, and I'm probably never going to do that again. I'm not going to be building things just to build them. I mean, I'm building stuff just for, these all have the potential of showing up on the tabletop and killing somebody else's little thing. Okay, so his feet are a little bit off of this. They're like in midair. So I'm going to build this up. It doesn't need support, but just so there's not a gap underneath it, because otherwise it's like holding this guy down really well so far up that his legs are up in the air. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to go on here. I was actually sat down. I'm like, I don't feel like painting. I'm going to play a video game. And then a sign of age. I just don't have some things that are stressful, I just don't want to do anymore. It's hard for me. Spray gunner place looks sweet. I should have, one of these days I'm going to go in there and take a YouTube video. The place is incredible. It's so zen in there. Like everything is like, and I even told him, I said, man, your place is awesome. I love coming here. It's like tranquil. Everything's organized well. It's just a blessing to come in here. And they have really good prices. I mean, the paints are like maybe 20% off list price. They have everything in stock. Like they didn't have one of the paint sets. These paint sets that already come like this. I wanted to get one for a couple of the ones, and they were out of them, right? I mean, they had 40 or 50 different paint sets. They just didn't have the counter one, and they didn't have something else. I forgot what it was. So I went online, saw what paints it included. I saw what the code was, went down, and it's organized like Dewey Decimal, and there they are in a little bin with all the things. So I just picked what I wanted to. It was, and they're like less than $4 a piece. And even though they're really watery, they last a long time because I still have the original Dunkelgelb, but I've painted a lot of German vehicles with it over a year and a half, and I'm just running out. So they have a YouTube. Okay. Yeah, they've expanded a lot since the last time I went, but it's been like a year since I went there. And they're open on Sundays because a lot of places aren't open on Sundays. So if you're a normal person and have Sundays off, you find out that's one of those days that you can't do things because other people are off that day. Other people are off that day also, yeah, so you can't go to their store and stuff. All right, I'm going to take, this is too thin really to do anything. So we're going to build this thing up, and we're going to use super glue. Heavens. And they carry Iwata stuff now. They didn't used to carry Iwata things. Which is a shame because I should have bought something from them instead of ordering it from Amazon after I realized it. Oh, that's an interesting video. Okay, well, we'll have to watch that later. Let's see if they've mailed that thing out. It says arriving September 9th through the 11th. Only got 2 days, and it looks like it's just ordered. It hasn't been shipped out yet. I hope there isn't a problem with this. It's not a big deal. It's just it's an airbrush cleaning mat. So it's a mat that has a little bit of an edge on it, so that when I take my parts apart, it doesn't fall on the floor like the last thing is, and I waste a week buying a replacement one and then find it. Just annoying shit. Stuff that happens to only old people. All right, let's cut this about so. And we're going to end up putting filler here too, but we want something underneath it to. All right, we don't need this piece to be very big because it's just going over the legs. Let's just cut this in half. All right, and let's use the tweezers. So this needs to go like, say, maybe like this. Oh, we're going to really have to stack it onto this other side. All right, so let's cut this and let's do this in half again. Let's have all these pieces figured out. When we start super gluing, we don't run into issues. So if we put this underneath here, it's actually too high. Let's pull this one out. Oh, is the bottom of this messed up? No, it was an optical delusion. So if I glue this to it and put this over here, that's about right. Okay, so that's kind of what we want to glue, and then we'll put his own name tag back here. Old people like us. Yeah, I don't feel old, but I was trying to what didn't I hadn't fired it up in like 3 years. I've decided to, and I wanted to see what it looked like on the new TV. Borderlands. I'm a fan of Borderlands. The humor is hilarious. And I fired it up, and it's stressful, man. It's like stressful, like always like. Not that I'm worried about dying, but it's just like, man, leave me alone for a second. Like, you get some and you get some, and like, leave me alone. Not that I can't handle it, but it's just not worth it. I went to the theme park last year, a year and a half, and I'm like, I'm not riding that thing anymore. That's too. I don't need to be. There's some things. I mean, I do roller coasters and everything, and this was not a roller coaster. It was like a freaking swing thing. I'm like, I'm not getting on that thing again. I did not like how it made me feel. It's just not worth it, you know? Been there, done that. Yeah, I don't have a problem with roller coasters. Just the swingy things that don't look like they're attached well. Yeah, I don't like that stuff. I don't do well with that. Okay, that's how he's going to sit on here. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to put a little dab of glue. We'll slap it back down. And that should fit about where his feet are. Otherwise, I got to put a whole bunch of filler there. And then I've got to make sure it doesn't shrink. And you just never know what's going to happen with that. I like the cold weather. I like the cold weather here. Yeah, I like the cold weather. I don't want to shovel any of it, okay? You can have that snow stuff. But I like being outside in the cold weather. I don't like bugs. So that's the problem is even if you can deal with the heat here, which I'm okay with it getting to like 100. The problem is it's 100 and still, and it's humid and buggy. And at night, it's like 88 and still and humid and buggy. And I'm like, that's just, no. So when people say, "Oh, I moved to Florida for the weather," I'm like, "What kind of shit weather did you come from?" Because the weather here sucks. But we don't have to shovel anything. I guess they come here when they're old and don't want. They're in no condition to shovel anything. But camping, I did camping in the Boy Scouts, and I'm cured of ever wanting to do camping. No thanks. And certainly not in this state. I like free air conditioning. Perfect. Okay, so we've built this little platform so his little legs can sit on there. 13 inches of snow. It's a pain in the ass. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But it's like, all right, have the day off. What do you get to do? I gotta fucking work. No. No, life's too short. But it is beautiful. One thing I definitely don't have any interest in doing is going to a place where it snows a lot and go there in a time of year that it's not snowing. So, for instance, I have no interest in ever going to Colorado in the summertime. Why? Why? They get snow. Why wouldn't I want to go there when it's snow? I mean, I'm never going to get it in Florida. And I love being outside and that kind of stuff. I don't want to live there. Okay, and that's where this guy's going to go. I thought for sure with all the Airfix figures that I had, I'd have a medic. Nope, not one. Not an American one, anyways. So he's going to have the little badges on his helmet. I believe they wear almost like an apron. I know that sounds ridiculous, but they do. I saw pictures of them today, and they wore like an apron. And one of the objectives is going to be is this guy needs to get this wounded guy on a jeep and get the hell out of the field. He's got to run through like some Germans with rifles or something like that. So we'll get to see what rifle fire does to a poor guy on a jeep. January, we get tons of snow in February. Yeah, and you probably get a lot of grade A's too, because man, that dampens my spirit a lot. I'm not used to having a gray sky. Because in the wintertime, there's no more beautiful skies in Florida than in the wintertime. It is just No clouds at all. This is a Battlefield Miniatures guy that is no longer made anymore. Let's, this will work. Okay. It's super glue, so it should be dry. So we're going to add the primer to this. Oh, that's the full one. Man, that was heavy. We had gray skies for almost 3 months one year. Ooh. Man. That's depressing, man. Make you pull a Kurt Cobain. You know, when it's gray and rainy, you know what I want? Ice cream. Especially if it's cold. I don't know, just something, that's when I crave ice cream. All right. We're going to cover this guy in black. Too bad I don't have some SS guys. That'd be perfect. He's got to get in the Jeep and drive through, and these SS fuckers are shooting at him. But I got lots of Germans painted. I had them for a scenario, and the scenario was German heavy, German centric. So I got almost a platoon of Germans. Already. Like I said, I don't have a problem painting German stuff, but you know, they have to fight other people. You know? Alright. We're gonna let that we're gonna let that dry. Yeah, I want to keep the momentum going, so having to hop around or whatever. Might work. Got a little bit better with the airbrush the last time I used it. I'm improving, but man, it is a slow climb. It is a really slow climb. Well, one thing's my painting style has stayed almost about the same except for one thing. And I was looking at this the other day, and I figured I'm gonna have to go back and retrofit a few things. And it's basically the black lining. The black pin wash is the one thing that I've added. And I knew I was gonna at lunchtime. Like I know I'm not gonna be able to paint this, so I'm gonna take a vehicle that I happen to have two of. These Armor Fast Panzer IVs, Ds, and with some stuff that I added to them, and from other kits, and we're going to add black lining to them, to one of them, and just so I can put them side by side and see what the difference is. So I'm going to take the one that has the commander's hatch. And actually, I have this stuff I haven't used yet, and I'm pretty leery of using it. I think I'm just going to return it. It's this, to me, a black panel line accent color. Because it's enamel based, and I think it's going to be too naturally too thick. No, it's not, but man, it's stinky. Oh man, it's stinky. I'm not used to smelling enamel. And I got to put a clear coat on it. So we're going to use Nuln Oil. We're going to use our good old Nuln Oil that dog needs to go out. Who let the dog out? You. So we're going to take this and we're going to do some black lining, and hopefully we can see the difference. I mean, I painted these guys relatively recently. The Panzer IVs, but I guess not recently enough. And this seems like it's a pain in the ass, but this is actually a really relaxing part. As long as you're using a brush, it's a pleasure to do this with. Because otherwise, it's a pain in the butt. And I like this stuff because it looks like it's really strong. Like, really dark. But then it fades as it dries a little bit. So it's really user friendly as far as not putting a whole lot down there to begin with. I'm not really a pet person, but I didn't really grow up with them. But if I had to have a pet, I just wish dogs didn't smell like dog. But I do appreciate them. Um, uh-oh, who we have here? Let me get my nearsighted correcting glasses on. What's up, man? I don't know what your name is, but that'll work. That little dog there? Dogs when I was a kid were more misbehaved than they are now. Now they seem to be more misbehaved, but kids are worse behaved. So those things just flip flop. I just didn't grow up with pets, so I'm not used to being the bitch's bitch. And I'm curious to see if it looks that much different from the other one, because when I'm applying this, it does. And then it dries out a little bit, and I can hardly tell the difference. Other than I know I did it. How are we doing on this? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to paint that tonight, unfortunately. Oh, it had to happen. Man, I got here, it was cold, and now it's warm. I don't know that I don't know if it's that noticeable. Maybe in a few places, but what would happen if I took black paint and added it to Nuln Oil? Thicken it up a little bit. Well, I'm not going to be able to make it very much, and I'm already fading. But I needed to paint that. I figured I'd say hi to you guys if you guys were here. Now that we got 4 viewers, great. Yeah, it makes a difference. Makes a noticeable difference anyhow. All right, it's nearly 10 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call it tonight. Been on here just shy of an hour. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, folks.